Hey guys, welcome to Sweden. We're just here in Säter, or if you say it in Swedish, Säter, and we're just about 210 kilometers outside of Stockholm, just northwest of it, and we're in the Bergslagen District, a very famous mining district, and the first mine here was set up in 400 BC, so there's quite a bit of mining history here.
We are visiting Norden Crown's Gumsberg project, where the company has 4 distinct areas for exploration identified. 3 are candidates for immediate drilling.
We got a lot of introduction to it, or a very detailed introduction to the mining history here by Rodney Allen this morning. He's technical advisor to the company, but also a university professor for economic geology and the authority in Sweden when it comes to the district. It was a great 2-hour session, very theoretical. Now we're here at the core shack and we're going to go look at some core. Make sure to join us for that.
So this stuff here is all honey sphalerite.
Honey sphalerite.
Yeah, it's just a kind of yellowish color sphalerite. Sphalerite can look quite a bit different depending on what its iron content is.
So we're looking at some core from the Gumberg Project. So we're just looking at drill hole 2011, and we just ran through the sections with Dan McNeil. He's a VP Exploration. And it's just interesting to see where the mineralization is, what it looks like visually, and it gives you a bit of an indication of what they're chasing and what they're looking for.
So it really, we started out by talking about the distribution of garnet. You can see that as you move into the mineralization. So really, we're looking at the start of the really good mineralization. This hole is 134.9. So this is really the top of that mineral, but that would be a bunch of sphalerite. You can see in this case it's a little bit reddish.
Yeah.
There's some and some galena.
It's quite visually cut off.
Yeah, you can see where the iron formation sort of exists, and then massive sulfides pick right up. As you grade down further into the mineralization, you get a different color of sphalerite. Like I said, this honey brown stuff. It's just a change in its iron content, but that is a beautiful sort of massive sulfide.
I like looking at the core samples to help visualize the target mineralization because these are important for me to understand future press releases and imagery.
We're just leaving the core shack now, and we're off to Oster. It's an old mine workings from back in the 1500s. Boliden touched on it a little bit in the late 60s, early 70s. They put a couple drill holes in it, missed it, and now we're going to look what they missed, and they're going to look at some mineralization at surface, and just follow me there.
Oster is one of 3 locations that Norden Crown is planning to drill in the future. This area was a historical silver mine, but only 5 shallow holes were drilled in this area in the past few decades. Norden Crown's exploration efforts show the potential for a new discovery here at depth, a persistent theme throughout all the Gumsberg projects. Before I get too carried away here, I wanted to hear from CEO Pat Veres which of the projects is actually his favorite. A bit of an unfair question, to be honest.
Run us a bit through the focus of the company, because 3 projects is always a bit difficult for a small junior.
Well, we started
which one is your favorite child?
To be honest, the latest discovery is my favorite, simply because it has a different potential. Broken Hill type deposits, they can be world-class deposits, and in fact there aren't that many of them, so they're a bit rare too in the geological environment. I'm going to say there's 20 around the world that are world-class deposits. So I think if you're going to generate tonnage in this project, that's probably where it's going to be. We drilled the Oster. We've done a number of drilling campaigns there, and it's a typical VMS. There's pots, there's chimneys, they're irregular, they pinch and swell, they come and go, and you're going to generate some tonnage. But the tonnage there is going to be much less. It's going to take more work. And it's going to take, you're going to come up with 1 million, 2 million, maybe 3 million tons on some of the deposits, because it's not one deposit, it's multiple of deposits. But it's going to take more work. And of course, I think that the market wants us to develop resources. Yeah. So for us, I think it would be a lot easier to develop resources at Fredriksson, even though the grade is maybe not as spectacular as what you would see at the VMS deposits, because the grades at the VMS deposit at Oster, you can have intercepts of over 1 kilo per ton silver, 32% combined lead zinc. You saw some of the rocks, some of the core. You saw some of the massive sulfites in the field in the dumps, and the ore is spectacular. but they're not going to be bulk tonnage type targets.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of, I think that stuff will become a resource somewhere along the way, and it will be mined because you do want some high-grade material to put through the mill feed. But where you're going to get the majority of your mining and your tonnage is going to be at Frederickson.
Yeah.
I had to see the Frederickson Groove in sight for myself. Open pits are always impressive, especially historical ones. This one is currently filled with water and surrounded by deep red rock faces, with a fault cutting right through it.
You can see here the open pit right behind me. The old timers took out pretty much the nose of a fault, and you can see it in behind me, and there's the other side is over this way. And what EMX together with Norden Crown is doing right now, they're trying to find how far back the mineralization goes. They're going to do some EM surveys, hopefully very soon, to see where the mineralization goes and see if there's anything left to mine.
So what are the next steps for the company now? Like, what are you doing over the winter?
So we are going to be starting some magnetic surveys. We want to do, because the Frederickson is hosted or is formed stratigraphically with some banded iron formations, those are magnetic. And so, and we have banded iron formations that trend for about 23 kilometers on our property. So we want to do a very detailed survey so that we can basically define the targets a little bit better. There is probably going to be multiple deposits there. And so we do need to do a little bit of homework. We have to do the geophysics. That'll help us generate targets. But when you generate the target, you got to go to the field, maybe do a little bit of mapping, a little bit of maybe soil sampling, make sure you optimize what you're going to drill so that we can come back and obviously the next step after that would be to do a drill program. So right now a drill program, that's definitely what's going to be needed, but we will need to raise some money to do that. So.
Fair enough. We're in the exploration game, right? Nothing comes free. And
That's right.
In Sweden, isn't it a tad more expensive in Sweden? What are the drill costs?
Well, it's a little bit more expensive to operate. I think our all-in costs are about $380 a meter.
Canadian.
But we're also very efficient here. Like, you're not wasting time sitting around waiting for drill permits or, in this area, we have a lot of support from the community, so you're not dealing with, some of the other issues that sometimes you find with projects where you have to deal with, some of the environmental issues, some of the, but in these areas, because they're all mining districts, there's lots of old workings. You're not going to disturb anything.
No, I think we drove past 2 or 3 old smelters.
Right.
So yes, there's history here, and people are used to it.
Sure.
So,
Exactly.
Fantastic. Pat, really appreciate the invitation here to Sweden. It was super insightful. Tour the project with you and the team yesterday. Appreciate it having us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do this again when we have a big discovery.
Well, you're on the right track.
Yes.
And I saw the sparkle in Rodney's eyes, so I'm quite excited to come back and see how this is developing.
Yeah, we're all pretty excited. I think it's a really good, solid project. Good geology, good history, lots of grade and mineralization, and so it's now a matter of finding the rest.
Yeah, fantastic. Everybody else, this was SF Live Onsite. We're here in Säter in Sweden, just about 250 kilometers outside of Stockholm. And we were joined by Pat Veres. Really appreciate the invitation to the project. Did a fantastic site tour. You've seen quite a bit of footage here in the video by now as well. Super insightful. First time in Sweden for myself, and I've learned a lot, and I hope you did too.
Oh, you didn't film that? I thought he was all set up for it. Okay.
We're gonna turn around though. So if you can turn around such that we're...
Hey.
They're noted on some of the maps we have.